Yesterday, I gave you guys my bold predictions for the upcoming NHL season. Now today, I want to react to some of your guys' predictions. So I made the post on the community tab before yesterday's video, and I just want to say thank you to every single one of you because you all killed it. There's over 400 comments on that post right now. Obviously, I can't feature every single one of those in the video, but just know I read every single comment and I appreciate all of you guys. You make these interactive videos so much fun for me to do. But let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and get started with the first bold prediction. This one very well may be the most bold in the entire video from Deltago. With an impressive home winning record, the Coyotes shock the hockey world and make it all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals. I felt kind of obligated to put this comment in the video because it was the most liked comment on the entire post, but I'm almost 1000% sure you're trolling, because if this is actually your bold prediction, you have taken bold to a whole other level. The next bold prediction we have comes from Exertion, who says, building off of his nearly 40 goal pace last season, Patrik Laine will go on to score 50 goals in 22-23, playing with his new superstar line mate Johnny Gaudreau. I actually really like this bold prediction. I don't think it's that far-fetched either. I mean, Patrik Laine has one of the most lethal shots in the entire NHL. This is a guy who scored 44 goals as a sophomore, so I don't think it's too crazy to believe that 50 goals is achievable for him, especially now, like you said, he's going to be playing with a superstar like Johnny Gaudreau, whose game should actually complement Patrik Laine's pretty well. Johnny Gaudreau is one of the absolute best playmakers in the league, one of the best setup men. I'm really excited to see those two play together. I think they're going to be a lot of fun to watch, and I think it could lead to some pretty big totals for each of them as well. This next bold prediction comes from Andrew, who says Jack Hughes and Dougie Hamilton have unbelievable seasons, and the Devils make the playoffs. Both were injured for some of last year, and I think people are forgetting how dominant a healthy Hamilton is. The Devils making the playoffs was a bold prediction that I've seen a lot of you guys make on the post, and I feel like we're all kind of just waiting for them to have that big breakthrough year as a team. They have a really great young core there. They have all the makings of being a fantastic team. It's just a matter of putting all those pieces together, and when they do, I think this is a team that could definitely be competing for a playoff spot, so I think this is actually a good bold prediction to make. Moving on now, this next one comes from Lance B, who says one of the teams, Arizona, Montreal, or Chicago, will not be bottom of the standings. Not necessarily saying playoffs, but not in the Connor Bedard sweepstakes. This is a really interesting one. So one of Arizona, Montreal, or Chicago not to be in the Bedard sweepstakes. If I had to pick one of those teams to overachieve and maybe not be in like the bottom 5 teams in the league, I would probably say Montreal is the most likely out of those 3, just because they still have so much of that core that made that run to the Stanley Cup Finals. You still have Brendan Gallagher, you still have Josh Anderson, Nick Suzuki, you have a guy like Cole Caulfield, who I expect to have a big breakthrough season, score 30 plus goals. I definitely don't think they're going to be anywhere all that close to a playoff spot, but I could definitely see a scenario where Montreal isn't a bottom 3 team in the league this upcoming season, so I could see this bold prediction coming true. Next up, this one comes from Ethan, who says Cale Makar hits 100 points this season. He was a beast in the playoffs and a Norris Trophy winner. I'm going to go ahead and agree with you on this one. I'll make this bold prediction with you. If there's any defenseman in the NHL right now who can put up 100 points, I would be putting my money on Cale Makar. I think he can achieve that. I also think he can become the first defenseman since Mike Green in 2009 to score 30 goals in a single season. I really believe Cale Makar is that good and that he can achieve those things. He's a generational defenseman. In my eyes, he's like the Connor McDavid of defense, so I really like this bold prediction, and I'm going to go ahead and make it with you. Moving on now to the next bold prediction. This one comes from Cameron Ryan, who says Jack Quinn scores the most goals by a rookie. I actually like this one a lot as well. Jack Quinn is not a name you hear brought up a lot when it comes to Calder Trophy favorites for next season. You hear a lot of Mason McTavish, William Eklund, Owen Power, Kent Johnson, Wright Slafkovsky, those guys, but Jack Quinn could definitely be a sleeper for the Calder. He scored at a pretty absurd rate in the American Hockey League this past season, and when he was called up to the Sabres for a couple of games, he scored a goal as well. He was labeled as a big-time goal scorer heading into the 2020 draft. He definitely lived up to that in his first full pro season, so if he makes the Sabres out of camp, sticks with them for the entire year, I would not be surprised at all to see Jack Quinn score between 20 to 25 goals, and who knows, that may be enough to lead all rookies. Next up, this bold prediction comes from Trevor, who says Sean Monahan bounces back and gets 25 goals with the Habs. Now that I think of it, I honestly don't even know how bold this is, but I like it. I think it can definitely happen. I said it in one of the more recent Ask Me Anything videos. I definitely think we're going to see Sean Monahan bounce back and maybe not get back to being like the point of game guy he was, the 30 plus goal scorer in 2018. Like, let's not forget that this is a guy who scored 20 plus goals in each of his first 7 NHL seasons with the Calgary Flames before obviously having a pretty disappointing past couple of years. And Monahan's only 27 as well. It's not like he's 34, 35 years old or his career is winding down or anything like that. The next bold prediction we have comes from Tony, who says Florida and Boston missed the playoffs entirely. Ottawa Ottawa and Detroit grab 3 and 4 in the division. That would be pretty insane, and listen, as a Detroit fan, I'd love that. One of my bold predictions in the video that I made yesterday was actually that Boston would miss the playoffs entirely, so I'm with you on that one. I don't know how I feel about predicting Florida to miss the playoffs, though. They just won the President's Trophy, and yeah, they lost a lot this offseason, but I still firmly believe at the bare minimum they're going to be the number 3 seed in the Atlantic Division. I still think they have enough talent on their roster for that. But could you imagine if this bold prediction actually did come true and the Panthers missed the playoffs the year after winning the President's Trophy? I know Bill Zito has made a lot of fantastic moves since becoming GM of the Panthers, but man, if that happens, he would definitely be taking some serious heat. The next bold prediction we have comes from the 2-inch pinch. That's quite the name. Toronto shockingly wins the President's Trophy, but still loses in the first round. Brackets, I'm a Leafs fan. I'm sorry to hear that. No, I'm joking. I honestly think Toronto should be one of the favorites to win the President's Trophy this upcoming season. You look at the Florida Panthers who just won it last year. Obviously, I think we can safely assume that they got worse. I don't think Tampa Bay is going to be as much of a threat to win the Presidents as they have been in years past. Colorado lost a significant amount in free agency as well, so if the Leafs can get good goaltending from Samsonov and Murray, they should be in the running for the Presidents for sure. And as far as them losing in the first round again goes, I mean, is that really a bold prediction anymore? But on the other hand, you do have to kind of assume that they have to win a round eventually, right? You'd hope. Moving along to the next bold prediction, this one comes from Tyler, who says the Wild don't make the playoffs. I definitely don't think they're going to have as good of a regular season as they had last year. They had 113 points. They were second in the Central. I definitely think it's going to be pretty hard for them to replicate that, especially now that Kevin Fiala is gone, and they didn't get back anything that'll help them right now in that trade. They just got back futures. That being said, I do still feel like they're at the very least a safe bet to be a 3-4 seed in the Central and pretty comfortably make the playoffs. You still have one of the absolute best players on the planet in Kaprizov. Eric Sinek, one of the best two-way centers in the game. Matthew Boldy, I think, is going to light it up in his sophomore season. They still have a stout defense. What I'm saying is they do still have a really good team, even without Kevin Fiala, so I would honestly be pretty shocked to see them miss the playoffs this year. Next up, from Peace O Cheddar, Matt Boldy, playing with first-line minutes, gets over 80 points, and thank you for the kind words. So another one involving the Minnesota Wild here. In the recent NHL over-under video I made, where I try to predict if a player will get over or under a certain point total this season, I actually said I believe Matthew Boldy will get over 60 points. I'm a big Boldy fan and a big believer in Matthew Boldy, so I like this bold prediction. 80 points is definitely a lot, but I honestly wouldn't be incredibly shocked to see him pull that off. Like, I could honestly see him having the kind of season that Jason Robertson just had in his sophomore year with the Stars. Next up, we have a bold prediction here from Dino, who says Erik Karlsson puts up 50 plus points, with him now being the number 1 D-man on the Sharks roster ever since Burns departed last month. I can see Karlsson returning to form if injuries don't hold him back. And also, thank you for the kind words. This is one that I would love to see come true. Erik Karlsson has been one of my favorite players in the league for a long time. I think he's also just one of the nicest guys in the league. He's had some really bad luck when it comes to injuries and that kind of thing since signing with the Sharks, which is really unfortunate for him. So I would love to see Karlsson get back to form, get back to being one of the better offensive defensemen in the league. I don't think we're ever going to see him get back to playing at the level that he was playing at when Ottawa made that run to the Eastern Conference Finals where they lost in Game 7 against Pittsburgh, but I definitely think a 50-plus point season for Karlsson is still achievable for him at this point in his career. And now for the final bold prediction of this video, this one comes from AA Sports, who says, I'm going to say that the Pittsburgh Penguins finally missed the playoffs. They lost Rodriguez in the offseason, and many key players are older and could be at risk of injury. This is a bold prediction I feel like people have been making for like the past 4 years. I think I actually made the bold prediction of the Penguins would miss the playoffs, not last year, but the year before that. To be honest, I'm done doubting the Penguins. I'm done doubting Crosby. I feel like as long as they have the core intact of Malkin, Crosby, Letang, doesn't matter how old they are, they're always going to be a force in the Metro Division. They're always going to be a perennial playoff team. And even when the Penguins do get injuries, it just seems like it doesn't really affect them that much. They just have like that next man up mentality where the next guy steps up and does really well. I don't think it's completely impossible to think that they could miss the playoffs, but like I said, I'm done doubting the Penguins. I feel like they've been proving people wrong for quite a while now. So that is going to wrap up today's video reacting to your guys' bold predictions for the upcoming NHL season. If you missed the community tab post, be sure to let me know what your bold predictions are for the upcoming season down below in the comment section. And while you're down there, if you could, please be sure to drop a like on the video. That is the best way to show your support. And most importantly, if this was your first time checking out the channel and you want to see more NHL content just like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll talk to you all soon.